are several ways to test for diabetes, to test for the amount of sugar in your blood. Alright, and just looking at the medical side, reading on Dr. Andrew Wheel's Healthy Aging book, he says that this one measure is better than doing the blood glucose measurements. He's saying check the glycation to monitor the hemoglobin for the amount of oxygen that's carried in the hemoglobin, and then if it reacts with the sugar, if the hemoglobin reacts within the sugar, then it's going to kind of form a different type of hemoglobin within the red blood cells, since the hemoglobin resides in the red blood cell, and that can circulate. The red blood cells can, each individual red blood cell can live between 90 and 120 days. So you're looking at a long-term study of the sugar flowing through the person's blood, and maybe you don't need to check as much or something. With blood glucose, I don't know, you could check before and after meals, so you can check that every day. And I mean, it's just silly to me that people want to do that. They want to go through these silly little measurements of readings and blood tests and all this nonsense. When really all you have to do is look at the person and look at their diet. Are they eating a lot of sugar extracts? And do they look fat? It's simple as that. But people want to have all these high measurable tests with readings and numbers and all that. Military doesn't bother with that. They'll just measure your neck and your waist, and you're off. You're either overweight or you're not. And I almost failed one of my tests, pretty much the last fat test I ever took in the military. Almost failed that. And that's the way to go. And all these little blood tests, they've gotten more sophisticated, but that doesn't mean that we've tackled the problem with obesity. I remember they pricked fingers. I don't know if they still prick fingers, but they were pricking fingers in the 80s. And then it's so silly to me. Like I remember this one kid in the trailer court. He had like a diabetic problem, and he was just a kid. He was just a skinny little kid, but he would like lose his mind. He'd like act really nuts and stuff. So the mom fed him candy to help calm him down. One of the silliest problems I've ever seen. Knowing now how bad this sugar extract problem is, I have to feel sorry for the kid. I wonder where he's at today. But there's people who are wearing these monitors on their waists that, I don't know, it's like that it reacts to your blood sugar level in some way. But it's some needle that you just keep embedded in your body, and it like squirts insulin in you or something when you're low or something like that. It sounds like it's an automatic device. Either way, it's just ridiculous. What really these are medical solutions to grocery store problems. That's what it's coming down to. It's a grocery store dependence problem, and 80% of the food sold in grocery stores has sugar added. Okay, yeah, the hardening of fats, the trans fats, are bad. They cause obesity problems and health problems. I have to admit, my heart, I think, reacts immediately. I feel I feel worse after eating like the peanut butter that has trans fat. I tried one from the food bank, and my heart didn't feel so good. Okay, and the trans fats cause inflammation, and that leads to the fatty build up in your body. Dr. Andrew Wheel's saying that you could be building up the fats, the cholesterol, and the hardening of the arteries as a result of inflammation. and hardening of fat to preserve foods, and then you eating that, that's going to cause inflammation. It's going to cause a bad reaction, and I feel it. I might be sensitive to it. I got a chemical sensitivity, seemingly more than other people for some reason. But yeah, with the sugar and all, it's gotten more sophisticated. The doctors have been able to turn it into a better profitable market for themselves, and the grocery stores haven't changed. The doctors aren't calling for the grocery stores to make any changes. There's no laws or anything. In fact, we still have in presidential debates like Marco Rubio promoting the sugar industry and trying to keep it competitive by giving them money, giving them grants and all that stuff. And the sugar industry needs to stop being competitive. It needs to be regulated to the point where it's extinct. All right, we don't need all this added sugar, all this sugar extracts put in the food, because that's a large part of the problem. Diabetes would go away if we could get rid of the sugar extracts. It's that simple. People won't have the obesity problems. I was listening to this interview. Now I forgot what the food product was, but it was a recent interview with the past few weeks, and the guy was saying, yeah, Americans like having more sugar in my product that I sell. So he's him along with many other manufacturers, and I forget what he was selling, but they talk about how Americans get more sugar added into their foods because that's just what they like, and we're suffering the worst diabetes problems, the metabolic syndrome problems, and all that more than other countries. I mean, I have to admit, I've looked at a few porn videos and stuff, and I have a pretty good eye for telling which are the American porn and which is the European porn. You could tell just by the slenderness of bodies and stuff. I know I'm a bit of a pervert, but I mean, where else do you get to see like the bodies and be able to like gauge their health than in porn? It's kind of nice. They reveal everything. These are people who are willing to show their bodies. You don't see that in TV dramas. You could see the difference in how American society has changed over the years by looking at old movies and old TV shows compared to now. You do see the slenderness differences in general with that, okay, through the clothes. But being able to see people who wear very little and compare countries, and just I've been looking at porn for a long time now. On the internet ever since I was 21, and I'm 40 now. It's been accessible for 20 years at least, just on the internet with photos and videos. But you could see the difference between countries. There's a definite difference just in that, and it's through diets. It's not like the Europeans are more active than us. All right, that, and Dr. Andrew Weil is disappointing in how he's saying that we need to move more to lose that fat. Okay, and it's really disappointing. I just went through a little section of that to see him say that. He's not pointing his finger at sugar, as far as I can tell. He's kind of pointing his finger at sugar, but he's also saying that people are lazy. He's saying, yeah, so it's kind of disappointing, but I'm only halfway through the book, so I'll just have to see.